What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you had I don't know, that you're having a good day. That's really what I want for you more than anything else. Welcome to the latest installment of our Blogging the Boys training camp preview series. Each and every video of this series, obviously, we're taking a look at a certain position on the Dallas Cowboys roster, kind of assessing what the Cowboys have, addressing some concerns that we might have, questions, qualms, concerns, positive things, just everything, obviously, as we count down and get closer and closer to training camp. Now, I'm not exactly certain when this video is going to drop, but I've been telling you for the last few episodes of this series that I'm filming some of them ahead of time because I'm going to be on vacation with my family. I am definitely on vacation when this video is dropping, but just so you know, I'm recording this on Thursday, July the 6th, 2023. It is 10:37 a.m. Central Standard Time for me. If something important happens for the Cowboys between my real moment in time and whenever you are seeing this, I promise you we have you covered in one way, shape, or form at bloggingtheboys.com, here on our YouTube channel, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads, whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, out in the world. But today, in our world, we're talking about a certain position group on the Dallas Cowboys that is a little bit unique, I think, and I don't want to say it's flown under the radar, but whatever. Let's get to it. The linebacker position. You obviously knew that we were talking about that because of the title of the video and the thumbnail. But still, I'm going to tell you right now, the linebackers on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I was on the final word with some great friends of mine. What was last week for you and last night for me with Law Nation, Boss Cowboy, Big Game James, and we were talking about the acquisitions the Cowboys made, obviously, in Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks, and we all love those, right? Now, something I said when I was talking was that and I think we all agree with this. I know I've said this here to you all, when the Cowboys re-signed Leighton Vander Esch and Donovan Wilson, just those two things, I was good, right? Like for this offseason, I was like, you know what? You took care of this. I'm fine. The fact that they traded for Gilmore and Cooks obviously was just more and more icing on top of the cake for me. But bringing Leighton Vander Esch back, I think, was maybe arguably the most important thing the Cowboys did this offseason. At least I could make that argument if I really wanted to. And I don't mean to disparage Donovan Wilson, but had Donovan Wilson walked in free agency, and we'll get to the safety position, obviously, as we continue this series. We're just now getting deeper onto the defensive side of the ball. We did have our defensive line video that went out before this one. But had Donovan Wilson walked, the Cowboys still would have had Jaron Kearse, Malik Hooker, Izzy Mukuamu, if you wanted to, slide him out to safety or slide him back to safety. Marquise Bell still an option, obviously, entering his second season with the team. But had the Cowboys lost Leighton Vander Esch, take a look at what things would have looked like. Now, I think we all presume the Cowboys would have maybe done something else had Leighton wound up somewhere else. But still, we're looking at the current roster. The Cowboys, I mentioned this in our defensive line video that we would include Micah Parsons here. We, on that video, wrote him as defensive end / linebacker, but here we're going linebacker first because we're talking about linebackers. I recognize that Micah doesn't play linebacker a whole lot, but he does play it some, which is why you have to factor him as a part of the conversation. So Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch, Damone Clark, Jabril Cox, DeMarvion Overshown, who the Cowboys obviously drafted this year, Devin Harper, a draft pick last year, Malik Jefferson, Isaiah Land, the lone departure here, Luke Gifford. And I think that people look at Luke Gifford and that departure, him winding up with the Tennessee Titans, and say, who cares? So what? Not a big deal. Luke Gifford's gone. Luke Gifford played a lot of special teams for this team, and you need those players. You need those bodies. And I think that if we have to pick a player who that's going to be this year, it's probably going to be the rookie DeMarvion Overshown, who went to the worst school in the history of the world, said the proud fighting Texas Aggie. But still, DeMarvion Overshown, I know we have a lot of hype and thought and wants and wishes for, but I don't personally expect DeMarvion Overshown to really kind of take the reins this year. And that's going to be something that's going to be really fun to watch at camp, obviously, right? How Dan Quinn utilizes him. We all can kind of see the writing on the wall, why he would like him, why Quinn would like, obviously, DeMarvion. And I think that we all can kind of see, DeMarvion being a replacement at that linebacker safety hybrid role that, Jaron Kearse operates in, right? It's not a coincidence, obviously, that Kearse and Malik Hooker are both on the final year of their current contracts with the Cowboys. So I think we can all see Overshown having a larger role in 2024 and beyond. But as far as this year is concerned, it's really about, Micah Parsons is part of the mix, right? But, more often than not, he's going to be rushing the passer. So you can't really rely on him as a linebacker. And that's been our conversation forever. That's why last year during camp, when the Cowboys signed Anthony Barr, we were thrilled about it because we said, look, if you're going into 2000 at the time, 22, excuse me, and Micah Parsons isn't really a linebacker, you're banking on Leighton Vander Esch. And if he gets hurt, you really have nobody to kind of absorb those snaps. And turns out Leighton Vander Esch did get hurt, and the Cowboys had to rely on Anthony Barr. He played over 600 snaps for the Cowboys last year, Anthony Barr. And I know that, that doesn't sound like a lot, or maybe it does to you, but those have to be replaced. And so Leighton Vander Esch, we know, is kind of the wolf hunter, the king of the linebackers for the Cowboys. We expect that. Damone Clark, man alive, I could not have been more wrong last year. And I know a lot of people shared the opinion, not to distract from the fact that I was wrong, but, we all thought, right, it's a redshirt year for Damone Clark in 2022. Not going to expect anything from him. He came in, he got healthy, he showed up, he played out, and he was awesome. And all kudos in the world to Damone Clark and the Cowboys medical team, obviously, for making that happen. And I think that we're all really excited about that. But that does lead me to a point, because we're talking about Jabril Cox now as kind of a cast-off, right? Like, we don't really, there's not a lot to trust in him. So you've got Leighton Vander Esch, Damone Clark to kind of work with when the Cowboys are in nickel. And after that, you do have some questions, because you have Jabril Cox, who once upon a time we had a lot of hope for, DeMarvion Overshown, who is a rookie. And so you have to kind of, manage expectations with him. Devin Harper, who had some brief moments last year, and Malik Jefferson, Isaiah Land. I mean, that's not a lot that's really, something that you can bank on in the middle of your defense. And for that reason, I'm going to bring this question up, and it's important to kind of assess these things, which is why we're doing this series here. Things could fall apart here rather fast for the Cowboys at linebacker position. Depth would be nice if we are being honest. We're always going to be honest. But that's why, again, I mentioned it. I loved the Anthony Barr signing so much, because if we take a look at this, and we'll put it on the screen one more time, and I know it's covering up here, we'll get this off the screen. If there's a Leighton Vander Esch injury, and I know that, he's done such a great job of shedding, that narrative, that reputation he had right after his rookie year of not being able to stay healthy, right? That was a big old thing in 2019 and 2020. And ever since Micah Parsons arrived, Leighton's been able to kind of mostly stay healthy, except for that little stretch last year. But if Leighton Vander Esch, or even Damone Clark for that matter, were to go down, you're looking at a linebacker group that is really, really suspect. And maybe you do drop Micah Parsons back and have him play more linebacker, but then you're limiting your pass rush capabilities, right? Because Micah is the best pass rusher on the team. And so I think right now, if you polled a random Cowboys fan, if you said, what is a position that needs to be addressed? What is a position that needs some depth? What is a position that Cowboys should look to kind of fill and add more to? I think a lot of people would say, I want them to sign DeAndre Hopkins. And a lot of people would rightfully say they need help at kicker. A lot of people, I think, would still say that they would love to see a more obvious left guard solution. But linebacker is low key on this list, because, again, if somebody gets hurt here, you are a bit up a creek. Now, you don't want to plan or hope, obviously, that anybody's going to get hurt, but you do have to have a plan in place. You do have to be ready to go, because you can't count on Micah Parsons here. And while Leighton Vander Esch has obviously shed that narrative, I think it's important to note that in a perfect world, and I say this expression a lot, if we turned injuries off, if this was Madden, I think we feel really good about this team, right? We feel really good about this linebacker core, right? We feel great about Leighton Vander Esch. We feel really good about Damone Clark taking a step in year two. I think we have questions about Jabril Cox. I think we have, expectations to gauge when it comes to DeMarvion Overshown, just because he's a rookie, right? It's difficult to expect him coming in and performing really well throughout his rookie season, although, to be fair, Micah Parsons was amazing his rookie season. Leighton was amazing his rookie season. And even Damone Clark was obviously very, very good last year as a rookie. So maybe he comes in and offers you something, but you get my point that those are more tenuous bets to make. And so if the Cowboys were able to bring in some depth to, to add to this linebacker room, I think that could go a long way at solving a problem that doesn't really exist, but could show up in a hurry. You know how it is in the NFL. Sometimes you blink and all of a sudden it's like, how did this massive problem develop at this position? I thought we were good. And I think that's something that could happen. That's always lurking. You always have to be prepared. The Cowboys do have some open roster spots, so maybe that is something they examine, once they get out to Oxnard. But who knows? Next up in our series, we obviously just discussed the linebackers, is the cornerbacks, and then we'll do the safeties after that. But next video in your feed will be the cornerback position. Please do subscribe here to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. We have all these videos coming out. We have live shows all the time. We have some podcasts that we drop on here. And obviously, training camp's going to get here. We're going to have you updated each and every single day, each and every single practice. It's going to be a lot of fun. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram or the aforementioned threads at RJ Ochoa, on TikTok at rj.ochoa. If you'd like to send me an email, you can, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or you can leave a comment down below. We'll do our best to get to those. Also, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you eat something delicious. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you next time.